Hello! Welcome to this week's video. So for this week, I am doing my wrap-up for the month of October. We have a few DNFs, one book that I really enjoyed, and one book that I finished, but the ending made me rage. So let's get to the DNFs first, because those will be quicker. Sadly, I DNF'd Unforgettable by Roseanne Bittner, which I have to check if this is one of her earlier books, because okay. So I know that a lot of people have issues with Native American romances, and I can understand, totally get it. Depending on how they're written and how they're portrayed, I don't mind them. But again, I am not Native American, so I will not speak for somebody else's experience, and I can't internalize somebody else's experience, because that's not my experience, and so it wouldn't be fair for me to speak for somebody else. But for me, I have never had issues with ones that don't through my non-Native American eyes, disrespect Native Americans and disrespect that culture, in my opinion, as a non-Native American person. And for the most part, I have loved Roseanne Bittner's books, because for me, I see her portray the Native American culture respectfully. This one did not work for me, and I have to see if it's one of her earlier books, because it's a girl and her brother who are orphans, and they escape from the orphanage to try and claim some land in Oklahoma. And the heroine's name is Allie, the hero's name is Ethan, and he is a half-breed. The heroine meets the hero, and he is an Indian scout, as they usually tend to be. The half-breed characters usually end up being scouts, and she is attracted to him, but she has trust issues, clearly, understandably, and she tries to push him away. And I was enjoying it. I was all fine and everything, until she threatens him, basically, and says something along the lines of, if you don't kind of leave us alone, then, I'm going to make noise and get you in trouble for harassing a white woman. And that's when I DNF'd the book. Because I was not okay with her making that threat at all. And she had this real sort of hang up about the fact that, he's an Indian or whatever, I shouldn't be attracted to him, and blah blah blah. And with what I assume are Roseanne Bittner's later heroines, they don't, at least that I remember reading, they don't have that hang up. They see the man for the man, and they love the man. They don't care. They don't care if he's, not like them. And Allie just like really rubbed me the wrong way with the way that she kept on about she like she had trust issues to begin with, but it really bothered me that she was using the fact that he was a half-breed to kind of keep him at arm's length and kind of justify her to herself to keep him at arm's length. That really, really bothered me. So, sadly, Roseanne Bittner, this one did not work for me. Like, I'm still, gonna seek out more of her books and stuff because I love the books of hers that I've read thus far. I mean, I have something in my I have Thunder on the Plains on my keeper shelf. There was another one, Outlaw Hearts, I believe, that she wrote that I adored. And just, yeah, this one just, no, it did not work. So that one will either be getting donated or will be part of a giveaway. Then we have some very early Nora Roberts, Song of the West. And this one is, she, I think, is a teacher. And she goes back east to help her sister, who is going to be having a baby. And she's there to, like, be with their sister and everything. And I DNF'd it in, like, the first chapter or so. Because Samantha here, one line that she says to her sister that just really completely turned me off her as a character. She says that she, the sister is like, I'm, you didn't have to come, like, all the way here. I know that, like, you didn't have to, like, leave your job and, like, come take care of me, like, it wasn't, I'm glad that you're here, but, kind of like, you shouldn't have, and I feel bad that you had to leave your job, and blah, blah. And Samantha says something along the lines of, I don't mind coming to help you because you're taking me away from the stress of having to teach a bunch of fat little girls how to dance ballet. Ballet or something along the lines, but the stress of having to teach fat little girls how to dance. And I was like, Lenora, I'm giving you a pass because this is 1982. I give her a pass. I don't think, from my memory of, like, different Nora Roberts that I've read over the years and her J.D. Robb books, I think she's gotten better. Like, she hasn't pulled this shit recently as of late, if I remember correctly. That did not work for me at all. No. Samantha, you can go and fuck off into the sun. So, no. The next one, let's see, we'll do, I'm going, like, back and forth. Should I talk about the one that, like, I finished and raged about, or should I talk about the one that I liked? So we'll talk about the one that I liked, that I finished and enjoyed. I finished it yesterday, and it's Teresa Medeiros, The Pleasure of Your Kiss. I enjoyed this book very, very much, and it is the story of Ash and Clorinda, and they were childhood kind of sweethearts, and they fell in love, and then he left her to go and, like, because he was of, like, a lower class than her, I guess, and he went to go and, like, be a better man and, like, make his fortune and blah, 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 and be, like, worthy of her, and, like, she was gonna wait for him, But then he comes back. She doesn't know he comes back. He comes back like 4 months later or something to find that she is getting married to somebody else. Now, if you've read historical romances, like, I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but if you've read historical romances, then you know why she would have to marry so quickly. If you know, you know. But something happens there, and she ends up actually becoming engaged to his brother. But then she gets kidnapped by the Sultan, and Ash has to go rescue her. Now, I really liked that there was the subplot with her friend Poppy and the Sultan, who they actually sort of get closer, and they actually fall in love with each other. There's Yasmin, one of the harem girls, who might end up with Ash's friend Luca. We're not sure yet. I didn't get confirmation on that yet. Maybe like in another book or what. But I really like that Farouk as the Sultan wasn't the villain of the story. He would appear to be, the villain of the story because he kidnapped the heroine and her friend and her lady's maid or what have you, but friend. But he's not. He's a good man. He's just, he has his culture, and there's the way that things are done. And then Ash comes in and, like, sets it all, like, wonky sauce, and it just, but I really, really liked this, and, totally enjoyed it, no complaints. The ending, when you get, like, the explanation of, like, what happened, sort of in the beginning, and, like, what was keeping these two actually apart, and was, like, they tied it up in a neat little bow, and it was a lot of information to get in, like, the last 2 or 3 pages. But yeah, so they explained that, and that was fine. And I liked the subplot with Poppy and the Sultan, which, I usually don't like when my romances focus on other couples. Don't like it, but rarely does it work, and here it worked. And I think the other time that I enjoyed it was, I think, with Anne Gracie. She does those well, the side plots. She does those well. And so enjoyed Pleasure of Your Kiss by Teresa Medeiros very much. And let me mention, I also tried another Audible this month that did not work for me. And that was Anna Campbell's What a Duke Dares. And I did not like it because, again, it's a story of the hero and the heroine, and he proposes to her for reasons that I don't remember right now, and she turns him down because she knows that the reason that he's proposing is not because he loves her, but for other sort of reasons. And so that she sort of, like, they sort of go their separate ways, and then sort of get brought kind of back together years later. And sort of in those intervening years, we get him falling in love with this woman named Sophie, I think it is, who's not the heroine. And I DNF'd it because we were spending so much time with him these flashbacks with this Sophie girl, and he's talking about how in love with her he is, and how, like, passionately he wants her, and like all the stuff that should be happening with the heroine is happening with this Sophie girl. And I'm like, what love story am I reading right now? Because why am I reading about this love story when I'm supposed to be reading about the hero and the heroine of the book? So it was sort of like a subplot, but not with a different couple, but with the hero and a different woman. So that just did not work for me at all. So Audible did not work for me again this month. And now we get to the ranty book. We have Elizabeth Gaskell's Ruth. Now, this is a piece of classic love. I feel like Dustin from Stranger Things. Which I have just started watching. We are almost finished season 2. That I'm watching it with my niece and my sister. Loving it so far. Oh my god. Elle, I just want to give her a hug. But just like Ruth, I just wanted to give her a hug. She deserved all the good things. So Ruth is a 16-year-old girl who works, whose parents have died, and she is sent to work in this seamstress shop place, and ends up getting caught up with this man of a higher class society named Harry Bellingham. Henry Bellingham. And he seduces our poor Ruth and abandons her. And society shuns her because she is a dirty whore. Never mind that he comes out smelling roses because, of course, he has the penis. So she loses her job, so she sort of loses any hope of a standing in society, and she gets taken in by this wonderful man, Mr. Benson, and his sister, who we love, Mr. Benson. He is the preciousest. And they sort of make up this false identity for her. And she lives with them for a while, and she has her baby, and it's all good. And she ends up as a kind of governess / teacher to the daughters of this man, Mr. Bradshaw. And she's living her life, and she's happy, and she loves her son, and he's like growing up great and everything. And then the secret comes out. And Mr. Bradshaw, this piece of shit, kicks her out, and sort of like completely like shuns her, and just is just absolutely horrible to her. Where she goes back to like thank God that she had Mr. Benson. And like we don't know how he finds out, Mr. Bradshaw finds out, because Henry comes back. Henry Bellingham comes back and finds her, and basically wants to pick up where he left off with her. But she says no. And we don't see Henry going to Mr. Bradshaw and telling him. So, and there's no indication that Bellingham is the one that told him. But somehow Bradshaw finds out, kicks Ruth out, and she is stuck now with no job. And then there's a typhus outbreak, and Ruth goes and I think I think maybe like as herself, but in like a farther off town where like nobody knows like who she is, so it's okay if she like uses her real name or something like that. Goes and like she helps all these people, and then like she finds out that they did know, I guess, because like the whole Bradshaw thing starts to like get around, and that they did know that what had happened to her, but they didn't care because she was such a good person and helped everybody, and basically like risked her own life to help all these people. So they're like, they don't care. She's a good person. They will not shun her. They all love her, and it's wonderful. And then she finds out that Bellingham is sick, and she goes to him. And I was hoping that it would be sort of because as much as like she turned him down and sort of hates what he did to her, I believe that there's a part of her that still loved him. So she goes to him. She goes to him, and she helps him, and she heals him, and he gets better. But Ruth doesn't. Ruth catches the typhus, and she passes away, sadly. And I was hoping that this was going to be a Bellingham, realizing what the mistakes of like what he's done, and with her having helped him, that would make him become like a better man. That's not what happens. That's not what happens in this freaking ending of this book. Now, with the whole like, when Bradshaw found out what she did, and that Ruth was a dirty whore, and shunned her, and basically shunned the whole family that she was staying with. Like he like turned away Benson because, oh my God, you lied about Ruth, and like, how dare you bring a dirty whore into my house to raise and corrupt my children. And so he and Benson are like on the outs. He is a judgmental piece of just garbage. And Bellingham, after Ruth's death, comes and is like, okay, I want to, raise my son, and, like, give him, like, the best that, like, my class sort of has to offer, and he'll get, like, the best education, and blah, blah, blah. Benson, I believe, in a misguided loyalty to Ruth, basically tells him, get thee behind me, Satan. Ain't no way that's gonna happen. Which I think it should have been Leonard's choice. Leonard was the son. Whether he wanted to see his father and have a relationship with his father or not. I think that should have been Leonard's choice and not Benson's. But Benson, was Ruth's sort of ride or die, so he felt like he was sticking up for his girl by saying no. And then Bellingham is just like, okay, well, I tried, bye. And we never see Bellingham again, which is something bullshit. Because the redemption story should have been Bellingham's. You know whose redemption story it actually ends up being? Bradshaw's. Yeah, the rando guy who Ruth was basically babysitting his kids. The rando, judgmental piece of garbage that was once Benson's friend. Once Bradshaw finds out that Ruth has died after, healing Bellingham and, doing all this good work at the hospital. Oh, maybe she wasn't a dirty whore. And, well, not even that. He doesn't even give her that. He's like, oh, she redeemed herself by fucking dying, apparently. She redeemed herself by giving of herself. And so, I'm ready to forgive her. And then, he goes to Benson and just sort of, says, I'm going to take care of Leonard and give him, all the, benefits in life and, give him, a good education as, a tribute to, the redemption of his mother. And so, he and Benson, have this last moment where they're, tearfully acknowledging that they're friends again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Ruth, this poor girl, went through all that shit, not even for Bellingham to get a redemption, but for some rando piece of misogynistic piece of shit to get the redemption? Are you? Oh, I was so mad. Oh my God. I was so mad. But I will say, up to that ending, I was thoroughly enjoying this book. Jane Eyre is still my favorite classic literature book that I have read so far, because there is a bit of a dry spell in the middle of this one where when Ruth is living with the Bensons and then goes and starts teaching and being the governess to Bradshaw's kids, and there's sort of a dry spell where it's that and Benson and Bradshaw and Bellingham, and they're politicking and stuff that just did not interest me at all. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this book, except for the ending. I hated the ending of this book. So that is that. So right now I am almost finished. With my reread and annotation of The Bronze Horseman. I have literally that much left. Just that little bit right there. I have that little bit left. So I will have that finished. And I am doing these reread and annotated. It's so fun to just stroke them. And annotating, because I'm going to be doing a giveaway for this. Now, I'm not sure if the giveaway is just going to be here on YouTube, or if I will be doing a sort of spread across multiple platforms giveaway. I haven't decided yet, but there will be a giveaway for this somewhere down the line. And so I'm almost finished that, and I'm going to be starting Afterglow by Jordana Daniels. Now, it doesn't have a back blurb, but it just sort of has this little quotey bit. And she could sense his magnetism coursing through the room. Her body responded to the energy of his gesture and the passion in his voice. You are mine, now and forever. This time, she knew he was right. This time, she could not argue. So that is Afterglow by Jordana Daniels. And I love these books, and they're from the Paradise Press imprint. And this was when was this? 1982. So I don't know if they're still publishing Paradise Press. I should check that out because I remember I've always loved these books. And I remember because they were, where would I get them? I think I would get them at the old bookstore, the ABC bookstore that I went to in a vlog, one of my weekly vlogs, one where I went to visit Kensington Market, and I ended up taking like a little detour and going to that ABC used bookstore that I was a little disappointed with because it's mostly, like, they used to have like the bins of like 5 books for $1 or like that kind, and granted this was like 40 or like, excuse me, like 30 years ago, so they don't really have those bins anymore. They have like 1 or 2 like not boxes but like shelves where the books are like $1 or $2 and fine. But mostly, like, when you go inside, their romance section is pretty much non-existent, and it's mostly just like literary fiction and classic literature now, which makes me sad because that used to be such a good used bookstore. But yeah, that's where, and they used to have so many of this imprint, of Paradise Press imprint. So that's what I'm going to start reading, and I'm going to be finishing the Brown Force. Very excited. Yeah, so that's going to be my wrap up. Hope you enjoyed that. Excuse me. We'll see if there's any more luck with Audible and that, but so far Audible's not being my friend. But either way, I have to get through, wrong shelf, of course, I have to get through that TBR mountain there. So we'll be focusing on the paperbacks for a while. So yeah, that's going to be it for this week's video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie. Subscribe if you'd like more of these bookish videos. On this channel here, we do pretty much everything. We do bookish videos, we do videos about TV shows, we do weekly vlogs, we just do a lot of stuff on here. So if you'd like to, by all means, please hit that subscribe button and the little notification belly thing so that you never miss a video. I will talk to you guys later. Bye!